For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 22nd day of May 2020. Hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist operating any type of motorized vehicle on the roads, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Do not allow yourselves to get carried away because there may be less traffic on the roads, less than normal traffic on the roads of the Cayman Islands. That is no excuse for you to exceed the speed limits or drive in any reckless or careless manner as well. And always remember that the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are riding bicycles on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you, no matter how short the trip may be, please wear a helmet. Please wear a helmet. You need to ensure that you protect the most vulnerable parts of your body, and your head is one of those who, when you fall, especially when you fall from a bike. Another part of you, your hands, your wrists, because your tendency is to extend your arms to try to break your fall. Not much we can do in that regard in terms of protection, but certainly you want to protect that, the central part of your body, that part of your body that controls everything else on your body, your brain. You want to ensure that you protect your head. So please, please, wear a helmet if you're cycling, if you're walking on the roads, irrespective of whether it is in broad daylight or it is dark. Please wear bright clothing so that you're more visible to other road users. Where possible, wear a flashing light with you as well. Now that stores are starting to open up, you have places like Uncle Bill's, Kirk Home Center, Craig Cycles, Sheldon Anderson Cycles, Revolutions, Jerome Amelie. All of those persons who are involved in the sale of bicycles usually have helmets. They usually have flashing lights that you can use as well, because I believe, and most the experts tell us that we're going to be in this situation for quite a while in terms of COVID-19. Those adjustments to our lives that we have made, and we hope and we trust that some of those adjustments, like people getting outside and exercising, that you continue to do that after we have controlled COVID-19. Continue to stay healthy. we see that in many instances, those persons who are more healthy and do not have as many underlying medical issues are the ones who are able to better battle the COVID-19 virus as well. So again, road users, we're urging you, please be extremely cautious. Take all of the necessary precautions to ensure that you stay safe on the roads of the Cayman Islands. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I want to remind you that For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open with the beautiful radio voice of Ms. Susan Watson waiting to take your calls, where you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and the 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Leave us a text message or send us a voice note. And of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. For those of you who have lost loved ones over the past few days, past few weeks, we again want to extend our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday as well. And if you've celebrated one over the past few days, a belated happy birthday as well. And Miss Phyllis Moxham Jensen wants to send happy birthday greetings to her grandson, Brandon Moxham, who's over in the UK. He's 24 years old today. He's studying in, I think it's architecture over in the UK, and she wants to wish him a happy birthday and remind him that even though he's 24 years old, he still can't keep up with his grandma, Miss Phyllis Moxham, as well. So, Brandon, we want to wish you a happy birthday, and we hope that you're listening in over there in the UK as well. Before I introduce my guests, I want to just give you an update on testing. There was no press briefing yesterday, so press release was issued, and the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that a further 383 COVID-19 tests, which have been completed over the past 24 hours through the screening program. Out of those 383, there were 10 positive results, which likely represent community-acquired cases, and for home isolation and contact tracing has already begun. None of these cases appear to be linked to each other. All of the additional 28 tests taken at Her Majesty's Prison Northward yesterday were negative. The release goes on to point out that the last COVID-19 case presenting from clinical management was on the 27th of April of this year. All positive cases reported since then have been discovered through wider screening programs, and these people have not come forward with any symptoms. So all of the ones that have been discovered through screening. No one has presented themselves with any symptoms of it. And the last part of the press release says that the Health Services Authority polymerase chain reaction PCR laboratory is going through scheduled maintenance, or went through a scheduled maintenance, and so will only be reporting clinically urgent specimens as well. And of course, I believe we expect to have a press briefing today where no doubt we will get an update again as well. So it is my pleasure to introduce my guest this morning. Again, none other than Honorable Orrett McLean, Leader of the Opposition. Mr. McLean, good morning, sir. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning to the broader community. It's good to be back, but there's much to talk about.
I bet there is.
But first, let me... I didn't get a chance on Wednesday to express my condolences to Miss Olive's family. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I was here and did that to Miss Yvonne's family last Friday. Yep. And now I'm doing it for Miss Olive, who was also married. They were sister-in-laws. Mm-hmm. They were married to two brothers. It's not often that this country or any country, and people come as expats, as foreigners, as migrants, and at the end of their life, the flags of that country is flown at half-mast. Mm-hmm. It's not often. Yeah. But it is deserving in this instance.
No doubt.
Miss Olive was, she epitomized community service. And we should all take a little piece out of her book. And to Catherine and all of the grandchildren, I express my sincere condolences. See, there's a little story about Miss Olive, because we all know how Miss Olive was. When she wanted to do something in the community, nothing stopped her. So when I was minister, I was in East End, and I think it was Perry called me, Perry Powell. He said, Minister, there's a lady just called and says she want the place at the Dart Park for her Pink Ladies. I said, well, who was it? He said, it was Miss Olive Miller. And I said, you calling me? You better make sure you get it done because I don't want her wrath on me. But that was her. She was, and she came in. We got it ready for her peppercorn lease within a short period. And she came in and signed it, and she was gone. That was it. She just wanted what she wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. And she did that. And that she was the epitome of volunteerism in a community and lifting people. They always said that she was, at some stage, president of the bar, justice of the peace on the bar, I think, or in charge of that. Chair. She was chair. And she was always very sympathetic with children when they came there, the juvenile court, and how she would always say, no, this doesn't make sense. This child can be helped, And we should all keep her in our memory and make sure we do some of the things, or volunteer to do some of the things that she did, which was lifting this community. Came here as an English lady, and she became a Caymanian very quickly. So my deepest condolences to all her family.
Yeah, she was the chair of the bench.
Of juvenile court
or something. Juvenile court,
as justice of the peace.
GIS has put out, and I hope I get an opportunity at some point in time to basically read her bio. GIS has put out a bio on her. Some of the things she was also involved in the establishment with Billy Borden of the Trade Winds newspaper when he came, and he set that up along with the funding from James MacDonald and Mr. Arthur Borden.
She contributed beyond her call of duty to this country. Yeah. I remember as a young child.
And the Gilder, of course.
As a young child, Miss Olive was always at those parades. You remember that, OC? Those parades. And she was leading. I mean, they were replete, and her dress was straight as it could be, buddy. She was an example to be followed, and every senior citizen celebration or get-together that she was at, I would always poke her, and she would always come up and poke me back, Yeah, that was Miss Olive for you. And I always saw Catherine, and, and she talked about how Miss Olive asked for me and stuff. But I always asked for Miss Olive.
She was a lively lady.
Yep,
really, really
very,
lively.
very involved in this community. And that just proves that those who come to this community, if they integrate, they are accepted.
Because originally she went to Jamaica,
right,
and then she used to come over here for periods of time.
Yeah, of the church and stuff.
Yeah,
and then went back and I think she married Mr. Ray, and then came here and lived. Probably before I was born.
Yeah, because they were at one point in time it appears as if they went back to the UK as well. And then,
and Catherine was born there.
In the UK.
Yeah, and Catherine and I are on age, so she was in Cayman long before I was born. She was a young woman. Spent her entire life dedicated to this country.
Okay, we're going to take our first commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Harold Banks, 1914-1997.
Mr. Banks began his career at sea at 14 and was a seaman until his retirement. He was also an accomplished shipbuilder. Mr. Banks volunteered for the Vietnam War and fought for the United States. He was a faithful member of the West Bay United Church, which he served as a manager. He was an honest employee and a good neighbor who always had time to visit the sick and bring a little hope and cheer to them. He was married to the former Enid Ebanks. His hobby was building intricate and beautiful miniature ships in bottles.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
With no vaccine, with no cure, our current solution is keeping our distance and staying at home. We stay at home to keep safe, to reduce harm to others. We stay apart while out and about, space between life and death. We keep our distance 6 feet apart because 6 feet apart is better than 6 feet below. We stay at home because it takes upwards of 40 nurses, doctors, laboratory technicians, housekeepers to care for one COVID-19 patient. Diagnosis, intubation, extubation to full recovery. 40 healthcare professionals and their families at risk while taking care of one COVID-19 patient. Breathe easy. Keep your distance. Stay home. Don't risk you. Don't risk others. This is Rotary Central saying, live to breathe, breathe to live, because breathing is everything.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
FIS MoneyGram is pleased to announce their Shedden Road location will be reopening for money transfer services effective Monday, May the 4th. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, MoneyGram on Shedden Road will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, servicing customers with A through K surnames on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and customers with L through Z surnames on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. To ensure social distancing requirements, customers are required to make an appointment on their days by WhatsApp or texting 928-5130. That's 928-5130. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments. Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, seaboard.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern, recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honorable Orrett McLean, leader of the opposition. Mr. McLean, let's talk a little bit about the Legislative Assembly now. The meeting is finished. The business that they met to take care of, all of that has been concluded now?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, because you do know that what must be heavily on people's mind is the reason why we boycotted Parliament.
Yep.
And we were out. OC, what we did let me explain to the people of this country, what we did on Wednesday was warranted by the behavior and the actions of the government, the current government. When the Premier asked me to discuss go into Parliament for the COVID-19 provisions that we needed to change the standing orders and the likes. Mm-hmm. We made a commitment that we would not do anything other than that during those periods.
Right.
If that was the case. But we agreed that we would also appoint a deputy speaker at that time. And I committed to go in and ask Mr. Eden to sit as the presiding officer for that period, something we have never had to do in this country. But I think it's 72 in the Constitution makes provisions for that, for anyone to be the presiding officer. So, OC, we got through that with us all working together because of it being the first time, with the AG being very pivotal in that, the legal aspect of it. It's 72. But anything thereafter, once a deputy speaker was appointed, then we were going to have to proceed as normal and do the work of the Legislative Assembly.
Okay.
Last week, Thursday, the Premier contacted me and said he had to have a meeting on some matters that were pending and urgent, the bills. So I said, fine. They had been circulated from the 29th of last month, of April, those bills had been sent to us by the legislature from the 29th of last month. Now, of course, I reviewed them and the likes. And, we were pretty much in concert with all the bills because we need to ensure that we get off of this blacklist, okay? There were a few questions we had surrounding how the operation of those bills that the ministers would have been able to respond to, So I said to the Premier, what was the position on us submitting business, private members' business? And he agreed that we would have to concede that. In the past, the practice has been that speakers have said that they waive the right, if it's a short notice, waive the conditions because questions need to be put in 10 days before and motions 5 days before. And speakers have always said they were waiving that, but speakers can't waive provisions in the standing orders, and I've always questioned that. It requires the leave of the whole House to do that. So theoretically, what we should have done was submit them, and then the House, when it convenes, move a motion to suspend it to allow them to get on the order paper.
Okay.
That's what we should have been doing, theoretically. Anyway, on Thursday evening, we got a notice from the clerk saying that the Speaker, the Honorable Mikiva Bush, had directed her to call this meeting, and a meeting was going to be called on the 20th. And no indication of whether or not private members' business would be dealt with. So Friday morning, quick o'clock, Mr. Miller and I went and submitted a motion of no confidence in the Speaker. And because that's our only recourse. Then, when we...
Okay, can we backtrack for a second? So, in terms of the getting the order paper and the motions, you said the Premier initially, when you broached him on that subject, he agreed.
He agreed that we would acquiesce to it.
Okay, let's do that.
But there was no indication from the clerk that we should submit, because if you read 9 of the standing orders, is very specific. It says that only the business that the Speaker, the presiding officer, instructs her to do, he or her, to do, him or her, to do in that meeting will be transacted. She didn't indicate to us that private business would be transacted.
Okay.
You see?
Okay.
And
it says that the presiding officer, not necessarily the speaker.
And we can go through the difference between a presiding officer and a speaker.
Yes.
Okay? And 9 says, if during adjournment of the House it is represented by the government to the presiding officer, you have to be take that in note that.
Yes.
That the public interest requires that the House should meet on an earlier date than that to which it stands adjourned. The presiding officer may direct accordingly. 2, every direction under paragraph 1 shall be in writing, signed by the presiding officer, bearing the date upon which it is given to the clerk, and specify the business to be transacted at that meeting to which it relates. Forthwith, upon receipt of any direction under paragraph 1 and 2, the clerk shall inform every member, personally, if practicable, of the time appointed by the presiding officer for the holding of a special meeting of the business to be transacted thereat.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to hold there. We're going to take our headline news. When we return, I want you to put that in layman's language, and how it played out in terms of that particular section of the standing orders as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
Serve up a chef-prepared dinner at home, like it's your own. Foster's Take-Home Family Meals are now available to order online for pickup in store. It's easy. Just choose your main course, a couple of sides, and you can even add a dessert. Meals start at $39.99 and feed a family of 4. Avoid the lines and pick up via our dedicated deli line at our airport and Camana Bay locations. Find our menu and start your order by visiting fosters.ky/family meals.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman-Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. As the community testing widens, more positives are coming to light. On Thursday, Al Kebab reported one member of its team tested positive with no symptoms. Foster's also reported an employee at its airport location testing positive. The grocery store said it would do a disinfection-level cleaning overnight and brought in a third-party janitorial service to use electrostatic sanitation systems throughout the store. Even a secured environment like Her Majesty's Prison Northward is not impenetrable, says Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee, after 2 of its inmates tested positive for COVID-19.
Fact of the matter is there is some movement around the prison. So staff move around the prison. Staff are of all different types. They're not just the guards, it's administrative staff and so on. A lot of the prisoners also leave the prison to go to appointments, medical appointments, appointments at courts and so on. So there has been some movement, and there will always be movement. There are medical staff that goes backwards and forwards.
Exactly how the virus breached the prison is uncertain, but
we know that it can transmit really easily. We know it can transmit in a hidden fashion. So there are lots of different routes. There are also objects that I know enter the prison, some should and some shouldn't, and it's possible that objects might also carry the condition because we know it can live on hard surfaces for some days.
In closed communities such as prisons, those inside are very vulnerable to infectious diseases, which keeps suppression and eradication a top priority. And smoke pot trees have been essential to the old Caymanian way of life, and the National Trust of the Cayman Islands with Caribbean Blooms hopes to reintroduce Cayman's original mosquito repellent, according to Historic Programs Manager Stuart Wilson.
Historically, the smokewood tree was the only protection from biting insects. Culturally, smoke pots were used to burn branches of smokewood to keep mosquitoes away.
Joanne Marcel of Caribbean Blooms says this tree is so important to Cayman's past.
And it was so bad in those days. It was a life or death situation. Children walked to school with its plants smoldering in a smoke pot. It made pioneering hardship easier to manage, and it was most likely better than today's full chemical insect spray.
The tree represents the resourcefulness of Caymanians living and working with nature, an idea Miss Marcel wants Cayman to embrace.
This tree is historically significant because it showed how Caymanians had to be resourceful in the old days, and it does show that they had a great knowledge base of their own surroundings. The National Trust needs funds to continue their conservation efforts. Without them, a voice is muted. Caribbean Blooms aim to preserve local flora, repurposing local flora into urban landscape settings. Connecting the cultural use of local plants is very important to us.
Proceeds go to the National Trust and their mission to preserve Cayman's history and culture. Visit marketing@nationaltrust.org.ky or call 949-1121 to purchase your own tree. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Danielle Jałowiecka.
A Pakistan International Airlines plane with 99 people on board has crashed into a residential area shortly before it was due to land in Karachi. The Airbus A320 came down about a minute from the airport, smashing into houses in narrow streets and sending clouds of smoke into the air. Local hospitals have declared a state of emergency. The United Nations says it has reports that the healthcare system in Yemen has in effect collapsed as the coronavirus spreads through the country. Aid agencies say people are being turned away from treatment centres due to a lack of equipment. Hong Kong's leader, Carrie Lam, has said she supports Beijing's decision to impose a national security law in the territory following pro-democracy protests last year. Mrs. Lam claimed the legislation would not affect the rights and freedoms of people in Hong Kong, but she made it clear the new regulations would target some of the protest activity. BBC News.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Bring a little bit of luck to your house with Lucky Slice from America. Burgers, steak, and the all-day American breakfast. From Europe, fish and chips, pizza and crepes. And from Asia, sushi.
Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week, delivery or pickup, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In these difficult times, we can all use a little bit of luck. Keep calm and stay lucky.
Minimize contact. Make your credit card payment by phone. Pay only for food. No delivery fee. No service charge. Certain restrictions apply. Call Lucky Slice Pizza to place your delivery order now. 949-3456.
Order from Cayman Creperie, Mojo Sushi, and Lucky Slice Pizza. Call 949-3456.
All travel is restricted between the 3 Cayman Islands. Anyone wishing to move between the islands must first notify the medical officer of health or director of the sister islands' health services. They must also undergo a 14-day mandatory isolation period at a government facility, as well as mandatory testing. Following a negative test at the end of isolation, they will be transported directly to the airport. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life. Staying focused on your long-term goals is crucial.
As motivational speaker and author Mel Robbins said in her book titled The 5-Second Rule, it's a numbers game. To play any game, you have to start. To win, you need to keep going. If you want to make your dreams come true, get ready for the long game. Life is not a one-and-done sort of deal. You've got to work for what you want. Life is gritty and hard, and then suddenly it's brilliant and amazing.
Change your thinking. Change your life. These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate moderate east to southeasterly winds and seas expected to continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours in association with a ridge of high pressure just north of the Caribbean Sea. Radar images show scattered showers around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. Now the forecast for today, calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder in the early morning. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Forecast for tonight, calling for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of late night showers and temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 8:33, low tide this afternoon at 3:20, and a high tide again tonight at 10:15. The sun will set this evening at 6:55 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:49. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Looking towards North Sound Road, traffic is flowing, steady but flowing. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, moderate flow of traffic in both directions. Light traffic coming from the West Bay four-way stop. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic is flowing at a good pace, as well as on Edward Street. And coming from the east on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is steady but flowing. And steady but flowing traffic as well on Cool Road, and moderate flow of traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 as we give you another traffic outlook. Have a good morning and buckle up.
Subway is helping to keep Cayman safe by limiting store openings and hours, offering curbside pickup and delivery right to your door. With 3 locations currently open to serve you: Anderson Square in Georgetown, Centennial Towers in West Bay, and Countryside Shopping Village in Savannah. Subway is open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. on soft curfew days. Free delivery for orders with a minimum $20 purchase. Delivery times only from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. Subway, helping you to enjoy your favorite foods in the safest way possible.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Fluff and Fold in Camana Bay is open. You've been carrying a heavy load for some time. Take a break and let Fluff and Fold carry the load. Dry cleaning and wash and fold laundry service with all necessary measures to ensure the safety of our staff and customers. Contact free pickup and drop off at their Camana Bay location. Give yourself a little bit of freedom. Fluff and Fold in Camana Bay. Open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
For more information, call Fluff and Fold at 943-5833.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534-2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Honourable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. We're talking about the meeting at the Legislative Assembly, the boycotting of that meeting or walking out of that meeting by the members of the official opposition and the reason for that. Mr. McLean, you mentioned Section 7-1 of our Constitution, and for the benefit of our audience, I'm going to read a few subsections of Section 7-1.
Can I do a typical letter to finalize that Section 9 of the Standing Order 9, and then we can do the Constitution?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I did the Section 9 of the Standing Orders, which is direction, which is request from the government to have a meeting to the Speaker, the presiding officer, whoever that presiding officer is going to be, okay? And then the direction sent to the clerk to call that meeting, and then the clerk must notify everyone as to what that meeting, as to what will be transacted at that meeting.
And let's go back to presiding officer again. That presiding officer can be the Speaker, can be the Deputy Speaker, or it can be anyone chosen by members of the Legislative Assembly to preside over.
That is why you will only find this, the word "the Speaker" used in a very few places in the Constitution or the Standing Orders, because it's a nomenclature to identify that person, just like the leader of the opposition and the premier. What is important is anyone can be a presiding officer in the legislature. That is why we use the word the presiding officer. Right. It's the one who's conducting the meeting at that time.
Right.
And we knew that the deputy was going to be doing that, so she would be the presiding officer that this would have come from. Okay? However, let me read a typical notification.
Right.
On the 2nd of January this year, we received correspondence from the legislature, which says, third meeting of the 2019-20 session of the Legislative Assembly commencing Thursday, the 30th of January. This was done on the 2nd. I have been directed by the Speaker, Honorable W. McKeever Bush, OBE, JP, to inform members that the third meeting of the 2019-20 session of the Cayman Islands Legislative Assembly will be held on Thursday, the 30th of January 2020 at 10 a.m. Accordingly, parliamentary questions being submitted for the meeting of the House should be received by the clerk no later than 5 p.m. Friday, the 17th of January 2020. Standing Order 21.1 provides that questions should be handed to the clerk no later than 10 days prior to the commencement of the meeting. Government, listen to this, government and private members' motions should be submitted to the clerk no later than 5 p.m. Tuesday, the 21st of January 2020. Standing Order 24.5 provides that motions required 5 clear days notice prior to the commencement of the meeting. And that was from the clerk.
Yes.
That's a typical notification, weeks in advance, to give members the opportunity to finalize what they want to put in and get it submitted. Now, on the 14th of this month, May, it was 4 o'clock in the evening, something like that. Fifth meeting of the 1920 session of the Legislative Assembly commencing Wednesday, the 20th May 2020. I have been directed by the Speaker, Honorable W. McKeever Bush, OBE, JP, to inform members that the fifth meeting of the 2019-2020 session of the Legislative Assembly will be held on Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2020 at 10 a.m. Business for consideration during this meeting that have been received by the clerk's office thus far have been provided to you. And that was the end of it. Nothing in there about private members' business or anything, or government motions. Okay? Now, when you read, I read Section 9, Standing Order 9.
Right.
No, I can read.
Go ahead. So we continue the train of thought. You go ahead and read Section 71 of the Constitution.
Of our Constitution, the Cayman Islands Constitution, says,
subject to this Constitution.
It says, subject to this Constitution, the Legislative Assembly may from time to time make, amend, and revoke standing orders for the regulation and orderly conduct of its own proceedings and the dispatch of business, and for the passing, interluting, that is putting titles, and numbering of bills, and for their presentation to the governor for assent. But no such standing order or amendment or revocation of them shall have effect unless they have been approved by the governor. That's the part we're trying to take out now, because the governor shouldn't be business with the legislature.
Right, none whatsoever.
2, standing orders must provide for fair procedures, adequate notice of bills and motions, and a sufficient opportunity for members of the Legislative Assembly, including opposition members, to speak and otherwise participate in the proceedings of the Assembly. 3, standing orders shall not be suspended or revoked without good reason.
Okay. Question now for you. Based on what it says on subsection 2, standing orders must provide for fair procedures, adequate notice of bills and motions, and a sufficient opportunity for members of the Legislative Assembly, including opposition members, to speak and otherwise participate in the proceedings of the Assembly. My question to you, does our standing orders make all of those provisions?
They do.
Okay.
They do. No, I'm not telling you that we don't have to revise our standing orders, but they do. And that is Section 9.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So from Section Standing Order 9, then we are, it's provided. This time, the government did not allow those things. Therefore, we were questioning it.
And the only way that they could have not allowed those would have been to go ahead and amend the standing orders?
No, you got to amend the Constitution.
The Constitution. Okay.
Let us talk about that for a minute for the benefit of those listening. What I said on the floor of the Legislative Assembly is this. We operate a constitutional democracy. Let me explain in my words what that means. A constitution, this country is run by a constitution. So we are a democracy, but we have a constitution which directs us as to how this democracy is run. Okay? If you start going outside of that constitution, then you're turning us into a dictatorship, you're turning us into totalitarianism, and only those in power are allowed to do anything in this country. A constitutional democracy requires that all participate in accordance with that constitution. If you want to change that, you change the Constitution. We have subscribed to that. And more so in this case, in our case, the people of this country voted to be managed and to be governed in their democracy by that Constitution. Therefore, the legislature majority have no place in overriding that Constitution. The people have put us there on the basis of us running and governing them by that Constitution. And you must follow it. At all costs, you must follow it. Now,
so your argument is we're
a constitutional democracy.
Not a parliamentary one. Okay.
Parliamentary democracy is different.
Yeah.
Parliamentary democracy means there is no constitution, like England. England does not have a constitution, contrary to what people... They operate based on conventions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay? And they can go into Parliament and do anything they want. Mm-hmm. People elect them to go into Parliament and manage them by their own thoughts. We cannot do that. Ours must be done by and in accordance with our Constitution. Totalitarianism means you don't want opposition. There is no opposition. You detest opposition. We do not run a totalitarian state here. We run a constitutional democracy. That's what we run. And we were being truncated. The opposition, which is clearly defined in the Constitution, 7-1, I think, 7-1, where the opposition must have its say. That is what that says. Mm-hmm. Now, we all subscribe to the maxim that the government must have its way, or we would have the tail wagging the dog.
Precisely.
That's what we would have. We wouldn't have a country. But why do we subscribe to that? Because there is a constitution. There's a written constitution, and the government is the majority. Therefore, they're running the country. You cannot have the opposition taking over the country when you have a majority of members duly elected on the same basis as the opposition, and they're in the majority, and they have been given the mandate to run the country, rightly or wrongly, however they got that mandate. In our case, it was a number of people coming together, number of elected members coming together to make the unity government. Mm-hmm. But they must operate it based on that constitution. They cannot operate it as doing what they would like and then truncating the opposition from doing it. You got to remember, OC, and this is for all of us, we represent a certain faction of this society as well. Okay? Now, we have a responsibility for the people's voice to be heard in that legislative assembly. And when the government prevents us from doing that, then the people, it's the people. It's not me. And I say this over and often, OC. I've said this over and often. Even the Honorable Orrett Connor has captured it now. This is not my real estate, OC. My name is not written on that seat in the Legislative Assembly. The people does not know nor care whether I am the leader of the opposition. It's not anything for them to be concerned about. What they are concerned about is that they elected me to represent their views and to defend their views. That's what they are concerned about. And when a government truncates me from expressing those, then they are attacking. They are attacking. They have, yesterday, Wednesday, was an attack, an affront to the people of East End in particular, and to this country in general. But let me go on to say, in the Premier's response to me, he called me all manner of evil. He called me all manner of evil. Said that I was intemperate. Okay. Out of control. No control of my emotions and whatnot. Let me remind the public and the Honourable Premier of when he and I were in the opposition. He and I were in the opposition.
Okay, so you don't break 3 minutes? Okay, we have 3 minutes before
when
the break.
When he and I were in the opposition, when he and Kurt Tippett accused the speaker, the then speaker was Juliana O'Connor, of being directed by the then leader of government business, who was McKeever. Mm-hmm. Okay? you see where this all going? Accused Julia, the speaker, of being directed. And as a result, not even in Parliament they did that. As a result, he and Kurt were suspended from Parliament. And the rest of us, Mr. Tone, Edna, and myself,
walked with him.
We go further. When the then government, with McKeever as leader of government business, would not take the Constitution amendments to the people in a referendum. We
2003?
2002, 2003, somewhere in there. We walked out in protest, and we had a mock parliament in Hero Square with the late Consuelo Ebanks being the speaker. Why did he do that then? Oh, it's good for him to do it, because he was defending democracy. He was defending the sanctity and the integrity of our democracy in our legislature. And the government was trying to run roughshod over the people of the country by doing what they wanted, like a parliamentary democracy. But now that he's doing it, I am a bad guy when I leave in protest as well.
Okay.
That is serious in my head, and it should be brought to the attention of the people, and people in this country should think of it. I am defending the same thing he was defending then. One, when he got suspended. Two, when he and I walked out. I walked out with him in solidarity when him and Kurt got suspended. And then we decided not to participate in that Constitution debate. And we walked out and had a mock parliament out. We were defending our people. We were defending democracy. We were defending the rights of the people. We were defending the rights of the opposition not to be curtailed. Okay. But all of a sudden, no, it is wrong. It's the shoe's under the foot now, you see.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, though, two things I want to I'd like you to focus on and explain to us. At some point in time, when the Premier was asked the question about the Speaker, he said, and I'm paraphrasing this basically, that the Mr. Bush is still the substantive Speaker of the Legislative Assembly. So my question to you is going to be, when is the Speaker not the Speaker? Okay. The other question will be, I'd like you to look at, is how do you ensure that what happened on Wednesday does not happen again? Is there any legal recourse to it? I know the Premier, in his part of his speech in the Legislative Assembly, did take some responsibility for some parts of it. I didn't necessarily understand all of it because I wasn't following it through. But obviously, he has made some concession in regard to what may have occurred or whatever, and we can look at it.
He has no choice, it's the law.
Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Insurance is complicated. Make your life easier and better protected with comprehensive financial solutions from FIS Insurance Brokers, with plans from life, health, property insurance, motor, public liability, and professional liability insurance. Whether you're protecting your family or your business, leave nothing to chance. Understand your options and protect yourself for the future. Speak to your FIS Insurance Broker agent today, located on Shedden Road by MoneyGram, or call 623-5616.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
We are currently in a soft curfew period in Grand Cayman until 8 o'clock tonight. Persons with surnames A to K are allowed to do banking and shopping on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and those with surnames L through Z are allowed to do the same on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Anyone caught breaking curfew is liable on conviction for a fine of $1,000 and imprisonment for 6 months. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. So, Mr. McLean, the question: when is the Speaker not the Speaker?
Well, the Speaker is not the Speaker when he's sitting. Mm-hmm. He or she is sitting. He's the presiding officer, looking over the proceedings of and conducting the proceedings of the legislature. This a presiding officer. The nomenclature of Speaker is...
And that includes the notices that was sent out to you as well? Right. That's part of it?
That's right. That's a presiding officer that does that. Mm-hmm. That's a presiding officer. The Speaker...
So your contention is that the details in that letter advising you of the meeting that you received...
would infer that he's going to be the presiding officer.
And instructions are coming from him.
That is correct. Mm-hmm. You understand? It infers based on Section 9, which says the presiding officer is to instruct, the clerk, would infer that the Speaker, McKeever Bush, is going to be the presiding officer for that meeting.
But based on what had transpired before in terms of his leave of absence, right, was it open-ended in terms of no date given in terms of when he would be returning to the Legislative Assembly? So could any assumption have been made that he was going to be returning for that meeting?
Well, you can't because, well, I guess you could. But the Premier announced at one of his press briefings that the McKeever Bush, the Honorable McKeever Bush, who was still the substantive speaker.
Yes, yeah.
But he would not be sitting until certain matters had been resolved. Right. That's what he said. Therefore, we knew he wasn't sitting. Therefore, nothing should have been coming from him. Nothing should have been coming from him. That was what I was trying to get at, yes. We already know that in the absence of the Speaker, under the Constitution, under Section 65, I think it's 65,
65
3 years, 4 or something like that.
65, 2 talks about vacation. 3, if the office of Speaker or Deputy Speaker becomes vacant, the Legislative Assembly shall elect another Speaker or Deputy Speaker fulfilling the requirements of subsections 1A and 1B.
No, it's...
it might be something else other than that, but go, I'll look for that. You go ahead and continue talking.
It may be the legislature, okay? Under the legislature, where in the absence of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker steps in.
Okay.
So in essence, we knew that the speaker was not going to be there, the substantive speaker, and that word substantive was used very carefully by the premier. He's no fool, okay? He says he's still the substantive speaker, but not necessarily the presiding officer. That's why he put it in that manner. You don't think now that he doesn't have the experience down there too, and the capabilities. He is very crafty with that, okay? So we knew that it was going to be the deputy, because we don't need to go now to 72 and elect one for that sitting, which we did with Mr. Anthony on the 23rd of last month. We don't need that anymore. We now have a substantive deputy speaker in place, which takes over as acting speaker during the absence of the speaker. Okay? Therefore, there is no need to even mention the speaker with the name McKeever Bush when it comes to the conduct and the proceedings of the Legislative Assembly. Proceedings, should I say. So, when we were going there, the governments, remember I read this, and the notification on the 14th of May, the clerk said that the business that will be transacted at it has already been provided to us. Meaning that someone instructed her that the only thing we were going to do was the government business.
But can you read that letter again, the one that referred specifically to Mr. Bush?
It says, I have been directed by the Speaker, Honorable W. McKeever Bush, OBE-JP, to inform members that the 5th meeting of the 2019/20 session of the Cayman Islands Legislative Assembly will be held on Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2020 at 10 a.m. Business for consideration during this meeting that have been received by the clerk's office thus far have been provided to you. So in essence, the only thing we are going to do, someone instructed her that the only thing we're going to do is the government business, okay, which was provided to us on the 29th. So I believe, it is my view, it is my belief, that this was deliberately done in order that the government did not get any questions put to them or motions and truncate the time, because they could have told us on the 29th that they were having it on the 20th. They waited until the 14th, which prevented us from even doing anything.
Question. If why the legislature went ahead and chose a deputy speaker, right?
Because the other one had resigned.
Right. So you had a deputy speaker who could then fill in
right.
for the speaker. This may be a rhetorical question, but why not have followed the procedure that was followed before and choose someone again?
You can't.
You couldn't do it.
You can't do it. The House requires a speaker and a deputy speaker for the purposes of presiding.
Yeah.
So obviously you got a deputy. That's a deputy.
But if you didn't have a deputy, couldn't you choose someone from
That's
amongst
correct. Which we did. We did
that on the first.
On the 23rd.
Yeah.
Last month.
So if you hadn't elected, if they hadn't chosen Ms. Conley as
we
a
could
speaker,
do it again.
then you could do it again.
But we can't do it now because the deputy speaker is not absent.
So my question is, why, if she wasn't going to be performing all of her functions, including that letter, why choose her as the deputy speaker if she's only going to perform 90% of her functions?
Well, I don't know. She said that all of this was done before she got involved, which is not true. Well, theoretical. I can't say it's not true because that's questioning the chair's integrity. But that is not accurate because she was appointed on the 24th. Of last month. the business for government that government transacted here, only one piece was on the order paper, on the business paper before that.
But anyway, even with all of that, the notice came out. All
of that came out on the 29th.
Yes,
so
exactly.
she was in place. So I do not know why they went around her and said that the speaker directed, because the Honorable McKeever Bush, because he cannot be on a leave of absence and still conducting the business of the legislature.
Right. And another example, and I'm not sure that it's comparing apples to apples, but when the deputy governor is acting as governor, as soon as that governor sets foot back on the island,
it is revoked.
Because you can't have two.
It always has a sunset clause.
Whenever. You can't have two at the same time. So the same way is that you can't have two presiding officers at the same time.
Right.
I would. That would be my argument. You can't have two presiding officers at the same time.
Right. You can't have two presiding officers because you only need one to preside in that sitting. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But then it begs the question: as what does presiding mean? What does it involve? Does it involve notifying the members of the meeting and telling them what's on? Because if that's the case, then you had two presiding officers. You had the speaker, who's the substantive speaker, sending a letter to you, and I'm no constitutional lawyer. I'm not even a member of the parliament, but I believe I got a little bit of common sense.
Well,
you had two things going on there.
That's what they did by sending this letter. Sending this letter.
Got to take a commercial break.
I totally agree with you with that, but really, the presiding officer is the one who's going to preside over on that.
Yes. Right. Okay. Time for us to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best in sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Don't let the actions of the few continue to impact the majority. If you know of someone who is taking unnecessary risks with social distancing and curfews, talk to them. Remind your siblings, children, parents, and friends of the importance of social distancing. We will all get through these challenging times, but only if we can all work together. #StayHomeCayman.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Stop the spread of coronavirus by washing your hands with soap frequently. If none is available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Stay at home whenever you can. Avoid close contact with people outside your household by staying a minimum of 6 feet apart and wear a mask while in public. For more information, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. I just want to let the audience know that we will be opening the phone lines after headline news at 9 o'clock. By then we should have gotten through all of this. So my question to Mr. McLean now is, how do we avoid such an instance occurring again in terms of your what you perceive as the opposition members of the Legislative Assembly not being able to function the way that our Constitution as well as the standing orders appear to make provisions for you to function as a legislator, to be able to present motions, ask questions, and all of those other things?
Well, see, let me tell you, there are different ways of doing it, but the most important way of getting this done is the government needs to do it to ensure that and
I must say, let me add this caveat as well. The Premier did admit that he dropped the ball. Yes,
he admitted he dropped the ball.
Yes, okay.
But then he went on to make innuendo and disparaging remarks about us, which I didn't like. But that is how he operates. When it's not going in his favor, he likes to make these disparaging remarks about people and their actions and their behaviors and whatnot. And I don't do that. But he enjoys that because he's mad. And, he said that, let me address two of them that he did. He said...
When you say mad, you mean upset? As opposed to...
Yeah, no, mental.
Got to make sure you clarify that.
Okay. When he said that we were cavorting, let me say, that's probably what we were doing after we left there. Let me tell the Premier, my picture has never been on the front page of the local newspaper dressed up for carnival and gyrating on some woman. That's not who I am, okay? And that's in response to that cavorting. My picture has never appeared on no newspaper with that, okay? I don't jump up and dance excitedly, okay?
Can you dance?
No. And the other one about me going fishing, why? Is he jealous of those of us who can go fishing because he can't, because he gets seasick?
Was it your day?
Well...
alphabetically?
No. but theoretically, that tongue-in-cheek there. What we were doing was we were writing that press release that we sent out. Okay? We were all gathered writing that. And you know how that is when more than one person put their hand on a thing, it takes a while. And that's what we were doing. And also I was consulting with constitutional lawyers. And at least two of them, I consulted with two and engaged two constitutional lawyers. And they had no right to turn down my motion. That is not over yet. Because they say it was based on sub judice. And just let me read that.
Okay, and tell our audience exactly what your motion was calling for.
The motion was a no confidence motion in the Speaker, which the Premier announced that we had done. And they said that it was refused. This was on Tuesday when I received that, the day before the Legislative Assembly convened, that it was refused on the basis that it was sub judice. And because it was in Grand Court. There's no such thing in Grand Court. There's not no Grand Court case.
Summary Court.
It's a summary court. It's Class C charges that has been laid. And sub judice rule does not apply. It is influencing a jury that you find sub judice. But Section 35, Standing Orders 35 of the thing, does not say you can't discuss it. It says you cannot say anything that would influence or prejudice the case. So I am still reviewing my options on that one, because this one now was the presiding officer that sent this to me. Of course, they changed it, so I will just have to, my response will just have to be to the presiding officer. You following me?
Okay. Now, what do you say to those individuals, those persons who would say that, okay, yes, you were going to bring the motion, but the question would be, did you have the numbers for the motion to carry?
It's not a matter of numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot be concerned by that. I cannot be concerned with numbers. Every man and woman who sit in that legislature must use their own conscience, and they be guided by their conscience and decide what their position will be on any matter and what their constituency response will be, and whether or not they are representing their constituency as they were elected to do. I can't be concerned with numbers. I only need one person to second it.
Now,
cannot be concerned with numbers.
Will this conundrum that the legislature found itself in, will that in any way now hasten the decision as to so as to clarify whether or not, despite the fact that the Premier said that the Speaker is still the substantive Speaker, will this in any way hasten this whole process? And the other question that I have is that we talk about the Legislative Assembly, talk about standing orders, and the need for standing orders to be amended to be, in many instances up to time, whether or not.
But that doesn't take away the fundamental.
No, I understand.
Foundation.
Whether or not it's fit for purpose. Is there a need now? We're members of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. We still governed by the rules of the House of Commons. When there are no provisions in our rules, we still govern by those. When will the legislature consider bringing in an expert on Erskine May and other things to look at our standing orders so that it can address the intricacies of modern day parliamentary procedures? It's obvious that that needs to be done. We're still operating to a certain extent with archaic standing orders.
I agree with you, O.C., and I will concede that point to you and say to you, since I've been there, we attempted that twice, and both times I was on the committee, because what you do is select a standing orders committee. The Standing Orders Committee comprises of all the members of the legislature. So there have been at least twice that we propose amending those and modernizing those. And I was always chosen to go on the subcommittee who would do the research and return it to the full committee, and then on to the legislature. There's a whole heap of processes.
But bearing in mind, your busy schedule as a legislator. Otherwise, why not bring in a consultant and have someone?
The last time we proposed bringing in Jackie out of Trinidad, because she's very good, and the guy out of England, remember, you know him good. He was out of CPA. We proposed bringing them in to assist us. That got shot down. Okay. Every time we have attempted to do this, the legislature ends before we get through with it all. The last time the Attorney General, 2013, 2017, the Attorney General, we needed to bring them into conformity with the Constitution, right? And the Attorney General, right after the election, I think, of 2017, did that, and we changed them to, or just before the election, we changed to make it compliant with the Constitution. But we didn't do the other part of it. For instance, the first time I went on this, one of the things that I opposed was computers being brought into Parliament. Because I believe that Parliament should, at the time, should have maintained that ability and how it had been run for hundreds of years, parliaments where it is written, I have had to concede that point. And that's what politics is about. We're now in a technological age, and more and more our people are putting, because we put provisions in there for electronic equipment as well. So I've had to concede that. That does not necessarily mean that I would do it, but I like Parliament as it has always been. You get up and debate without papers and the likes and whatnot.
My point there was that being a member of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, I am sure that that they would be more than happy to provide the assistance
and help us with it.
Yeah,
but other countries too. I mean, one of the people who had more knowledge about any standing orders and constitutions in the Commonwealth was Branca from Barbados. He was the clerk of the Barbados Parliament for years. An older gentleman. He died some time ago, but he was one of the people that is used as a resource to rewrite standing orders. You know.
Headline news. When we return, we're going to open the phone lines as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
To alleviate the impact of COVID-19 on students attending Northern Caribbean University near Jamaica, an event aimed at raising some $1 million to $2 million for student scholarships will be launched on Sunday. The event will be streamed live on the NCU social media platforms and broadcast on NCU FM and TV. For more information, email ncukaymanalumni@gmail.com. A Pakistani International Airlines plane has crashed in Karachi on a flight from Lahore. The flight was carrying around 91 passengers and 8 crew and was flying from Lahore to Jinnah International Airport, one of Pakistan's busiest. Pictures show a scene of devastation in the Model Colony residential area. Emergency services have arrived. No confirmation on casualties so far, but many are feared dead. China's ruling Communist Party has set in motion a controversial national security law for Hong Kong, a move seen as a major blow to the city's freedoms. The law to ban treason, secession, sedition, and subversion could bypass Hong Kong's lawmakers. Critics say Beijing is breaking its promise to allow Hong Kong freedoms not seen elsewhere in China. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We've opened up the phone lines now. Also getting WhatsApp messages as well. This one says, good morning. Question to ask, when is the presiding officer the presiding officer? Is it when the person is actually in the chair? Says you can't have it both ways and say the speaker and presiding officer are different and then say the roles are the same.
Well, the presiding officer is the person, could be the same person who's the speaker, which is normally what we expect. But England got like 6 deputies. No, the speaker is not sitting all the time. So he's not the presiding officer at that time. The presiding officer is the deputy that is sitting there. Okay? So the presiding officer will direct. The standing orders is very specific, exactly for that purpose, because anyone can preside. We can have someone else presiding, and if we know in advance who the presiding officer is going to be for that sitting, so that's the person who will say what is going to be on that paper, because that presiding officer has to preside over it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other question I have, I just thought of it also, is the previous meeting before the deputy speaker was elected.
Mm-hmm.
The notification that
came out on the 2nd of January for the 30th of January.
And that came from whom?
That came from the clerk.
The clerk issued that. Not so. And what did that? What did that one read again? Do you have access to that again? If you do,
hang on. What it said was,
folks, want to
I've
remind
been directed by the Speaker, Honorable W. McKeever Bush, OBE-JP, to inform members that the third meeting of the 2019-20 session of the Cayman Islands Legislative Assembly will be held on Thursday, 30th of January 2020 at 10 a.m. Accordingly, parliamentary questions being submitted for this meeting of the House should be received by the clerk no later than 5 p.m. on the 17th of January. So that was given us 15 clear days.
And who presided over that meeting?
The McKeever Bush.
Yeah, but wasn't there another meeting? The one that
since then,
the one that where the
we
deputy
did that
speaker was elected.
The 23rd of last month.
Yes,
23rd of last month. That was Anthony that presided over.
And
that.
who sent out that notice?
Again, they sent it out by the speaker. They sent it out by the speaker, which I objected to.
Okay. I wanted to see whether or not it was any different than the one the last.
No, they
that
sent
was
it out by the
way.
speaker.
Okay.
And I must tell you, I objected to it.
Okay.
I objected to it, and that's when I got myself on. I see you can't have. I objected to it. I made it very well known to the Attorney General. I made it very well known to the Attorney General as well.
Okay. Folks, toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. You can call us on our 949-8037, 949-6990. This one question, why is it so seemingly important to kick another fellow Caymanian when he is down in the trench? The matter with the honorable speakers being addressed via the courts. Why do you and your colleagues, I'm going to leave out names here, seem to think that bringing a motion of no confidence in the midst of a one-day emergency sitting of the Legislative Assembly is a priority?
This is not an emergency sitting. There's no emergency sitting. There's no emergency sitting under the Constitution requires the Premier to declare that it is an emergency and we have an emergency. We did that for the one with because we didn't have a speaker nor a deputy. We did that, and we quite. I helped organize that. This is not an emergency speaker, but when it comes to talking about the speakership, that's the highest office of the land. And let me tell you something. If the people of this country, one of the highest offices of this land must be fourth in line of
precedence,
precedence. Let me explain to the people of this country. You think it makes me happy that I bring a motion of no confidence against a fellow member, a fellow legislator? No, it doesn't. But let me tell you something. I will not leave this legislature with anything hanging over my head that I did not try to maintain the integrity for future generations. What will your children aspire to? That they can do anything they want to do in those positions? No, that cannot be. That cannot be, and I will not sit down and allow it to happen, not on my watch. That position needs to be above reproach, and when it's it is encroached upon, then we, the government of the day, has a responsibility to deal with it. And if they do not deal with it, then the opposition, who has the responsibility of keeping the government in check, has the responsibility, and the only way we can do that is to bring a vote of no confidence. That is, anywhere in the world you go, in any democracy, that is how it works. And if we condone such behavior in the legislature, then we are no better. Now, we all have had our going outside the law. We have all had our troubles. No one does not have broken glasses in the Legislative Assembly one way or the other. We are all human beings. But when these things happen, we must be men enough and women enough to know that we have faltered and that we should not sit in those positions.
And this vote of confidence has nothing to do with the individual as much as it has to do with the individual being able to perform the functions as outlined in the Constitution and the standing orders based on the particular.
You see what it just did, Burqa? You see what it just did, Burqa?
Particular circumstances.
In England?
Burqa, yeah.
You see what it just did him?
They denied him a pair.
Of course. You know, he had to resign because he supported the opposition against with the Brexit thing.
And he probably used some nefarious means to do so as well. Let's grab a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
We need to stop thinking about personalities.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Okay, and good morning to Leader of Opposition, Mr. Art McLean.
Good morning.
Yes, Ms. Mayor Lawrence, Honourable Ms. Mayor Lawrence was the right example of being the Speaker of the House. She always did what was right, and she never took sides in the House of the Assembly, and I think others should follow her example. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. Any comments on that, Mr. McLean?
Well, you know, let me tell you,
there is no speaker that's going to please everybody.
No.
That first needs to be established.
No speaker that's going to please everybody. They're human, and I have been there with Cap Mabry. Maybe I lean a little more to Cap Mabry, but it was because, you know, I sort of came into politics under Cap Mabry when we were planning in the 80s and that kind of stuff. Then I was there with Linford, Miss Julia, Miss Edna, Miss Mary, and then back with Miss Julia again. I think she did 2 stints at it. I think. Let me tell you something. There were all of those speakers, OC. I question in my mind their ruling, but I can't question it on the floor. Every one of them. I question their ruling against me in my mind, but of course I can't. I have no retort. I can't question them once that ruling has been completed. We move on. Sometimes I felt bad because I knew it was leaning more towards the government or whichever direction. But not once did I have any reason to question the conduct of those people. Not once. I cannot tell you, and I say that with all sincerity. Now I have questioned their rulings. Of course I have questioned their rulings. Don't we all? Because when a speaker, when a presiding officer makes a ruling, it becomes a convention. And it's a practice then that goes throughout the Commonwealth in most instances. I recall one time we had an incident on the floor with Honorable McKeever Bush, where he wanted to lay a paper and we had to suspend proceedings to call out the Commonwealth countries to see whether or not we were in meetings all night trying to determine that, because it sets precedents, it sets conventions. Those are the times you have your arguments with the presiding officer, but as to whether or not that. But once that decision has been made, you move on. But with regards to their conduct, I have been in there with Miss Julie, presiding officer, as the presiding officer, and Miss Julie suspend the proceedings, call me into her chambers, and once you're summoned to presiding officer's chamber, speaker's chambers, you have done something wrong, and immediately you start worrying, and she cautioned me to never go in that direction again. And Cap Mabry did it to me. Linford has done it to me. Never go. Miss Mary has done it to me. Never go in that direction again.
But it didn't want in private.
Yeah,
yes.
Didn't want to embarrass me on the floor. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you get a little heated because that's what advocacy is about. And while Alan may accuse me of being intemperate, well, he's caused it. What do you think caused that? It's him who caused me to go intemperate by not doing what the Constitution says, and I have to advocate for
so
the
you're
people.
you're guilty, but he's to blame.
Of course, absolutely, it's him to blame. Yeah. Why didn't he allow us? If he had allowed us to do what we are constitutionally allowed to do, instead of using his majority to curtail us and truncate us, then we wouldn't have to worry. I wouldn't be intemperate.
Yeah. Got to take a break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Are you a Caymanian experiencing unemployment or have recently been laid off? Are you already registered with work but need to know what jobs are available or how to post job ads? Contact Work today. Call 945-9672 or toll free at 1-800-534-9672 or email worc@gov.ky.
This is a public service announcement from your Radio Cayman, your community radio station. Here are some coronavirus prevention tips.
Home isolation means staying indoors and completely avoiding contact with other people. You need to do this if you have symptoms of COVID-19. If you are practicing home isolation, you should stay in a well-ventilated room with a window to outside that can be opened separate from other people in your home. Keep the door closed and use a separate bathroom from the rest of the household, if available. If you have to share these facilities, regular sterilization will be required. Consider drawing up a bathroom schedule for washing or bathing and have the isolated person using the facilities last.
For the latest updates and information, please visit hsa.ky/public-health/coronavirus or gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Honorable Arden McLean, Leader of the Opposition. One of our listeners wanted to know whether, other than the motion of no confidence, were there other motions or business of the House that the opposition wanted to deal with or presented to be dealt with.
And one of the, and I said this on the floor of the Legislative Assembly also, we have lots of work that was presented to the Parliament over the last couple of months that could have gone on the order of paper.
Mm-hmm.
There are motions, there are questions there, and some of the things we wanted to do, we said we had questions on the pension and what is going on about that. You understand? It was on questions on pension and the retirement disparity with the civil servant and private sector.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, this off-right thing with the fuel, all those things we had to do. Yes, the Premier said there is no restrictions on sending these things in prior to knowing when a meeting is going to be held.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Totally agree. I support his position on that. Never did oppose that. However, it is a practice, which the Premier has practiced as well, he and I. Once we get that notification is when we finalize all of our business to put into the... And there is some degree of urgency that is put on it then, so that we can get it in. And of course, who wants to expose their hands long in advance with a government? The Premier didn't do it when he went in opposition. I ain't doing it now. So, motions of 5 clear days, we put it in on the last day. That is how Parliament works, okay?
And who has access to those motions and things that you put in advance?
Anybody.
Any member
well,
of the
it has to be approved by the presiding officer. Mm-hmm. It has to be put on the business paper.
Okay.
Once it gets on the business paper, it's circulated.
But is that presiding officer or the speaker, they're allowed to divulge that to any other member prior to it being circulated?
No, but it goes to all civil servants then too. Once that is circulated, they have to put it on the next business paper.
Okay.
They have to notify the ministries of what this business is. Because they got to respond. Mm-hmm. With questions, the ministries got to respond to that. Mm-hmm. And it's the civil servants who will do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the civil servants like it, but I'm saying that anyone has access to it once you put it in there. You see what I'm saying? That's like, I should mention that now. The other day, the Premier accused the civil servants of leaking to a certain media house, if you can call it that, in this country. And he was quite adamant about it. Well, I would invite him now to investigate why that same media house could post photographs of the opposition not being in the Legislative Assembly. And indeed, no civil servants were there. The only civil servants that were there were the drafters, I think.
Legislative drafting?
Drafting.
Mm-hmm.
And they were sitting out against where former members can sit, where they usually sit. Indeed, this picture came from behind the Minister for Health. You can see that in the pictures. So I would invite the Premier to really look in to see where the leak in his government is coming from. And I am certainly of the opinion and the position now that it's not civil servants.
Okay.
It is obviously one of his members whomever it was standing behind the Minister for Health or sitting behind the Minister for Health. So I would advise him to change his position on civil servants leaking out of his government.
Okay, we have 2 callers. Let's grab them. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor, Mr. McLean.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm still hanging in, thankful. I'm glad you brought up that meeting, that mock trial. I was there, I was there. I was Consuelo's chauffeur. And this is the first time I ever heard anyone speak about that. I wonder if people really forgot that.
Oh, and I know who you are, and I can call you. Captain Paul, one thing I have been gifted with is an elephant memory. And I don't need papers to remind me. I may go back and look, see what was said, but I remember the events, especially if they happen with me, sir.
Yes, I just had to call in and refresh people's memory what went on. I'm not going to say anymore, but I was there because, I was Consuelo's chauffeur, and I was there, and I wonder if people do. I have a good memory myself, so I could recall quite a few things that happened there, but I'll leave it at that. You all have a good day.
All right,
Thank you very much, Captain Paul. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC, and good morning,
Morning, sir.
Morning.
I was this morning. I was doing my devotions, and I happened to be on the chapter Matthew. As I'm reading there in verse 25, it says, "And Jesus knew their thoughts, and said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand." I say this morning, gentlemen, because I know we have our differences in life, but the one thing that I really feel terrible about is that when we have in the house, because those that are in charge think that they can do what they want, those in the back bench, they try to get things in. What I'm saying is there has to be reason among that group in there, the whole group. And people should sit down and, like the old guys used to do when Mr. Willie Fighter and them was in there, and those people, Mr. Butler Bush and all that, and Hull and all them, they would sit down and somebody mentioned something and say, well, let's look at it now and see what's the best thing to do. And they would come up with a solution, because not everybody can have what they want when they want it. But if they reason, they usually come up with the best solution to the problem. And I'm hoping, I pray each day that God would bless our country, bless the legislative assembly, members of the assembly, and help everyone to sit down and say, all of us would like something, but we have to take what is most important for the island. And if we can do that, I think God will bless us. That's all. That's my piece this morning. God bless you.
Thank you very much, caller, for that.
Let me comment on that.
Because you're the
Let me comment on that. No one, and I'm not saying that he's saying it, but no one can say that we have not been reasonable, especially over the last couple of months, in our approach to working with the government. No one can accuse us of not working with the government. I can tell you how far we have gone, and I know the Attorney General got beat me up when you see me next. The Attorney General calls me all hours night about certain procedural matters, because the Premier said to him, AG, just check with Arden and you and him deal with that. I got other things to do. I have responded every time. Sometimes, like one time I said to the AG, for instance, I wasn't around my standing orders, and I said to him that when we were looking at doing a special meeting on the 23rd, I said to him that, AG, we're going to have to get the Speaker to approve a committee meeting, because a committee cannot meet whilst the House is in session, and the House would be in session. And if we're going to have to refer this to we had already decided we were going to have to refer the changes of the standing orders to the committee of the whole House. But the committee can't meet because the House is in session. And I was saying to him, and these are all the technical things that we need to look at, so that we legitimize the proceedings and the outcome of those proceedings. And I said to him, the Speaker will have to announce that. Because we hadn't done this before, we agreed on that. And then when I went away from it, we finished the conversation, and I said, but something wrong with that. And I went and did the research, and I had to call him back. And I said, it's not the Speaker, it is the House that must approve that the committee meets during the House being in session. So that is how we work together.
So there is collaboration.
Of course. I mean...
And these instances that occur here are the exceptions rather than the rule.
Absolutely. They are the exceptions rather than the rule. I mean, like I said on the floor of the Legislative Assembly when I was presenting this objection to what the government was doing, we received those bills, those financial bills on the 29th, it was, of last month. I was up all hours of the night reading them. And I said, and Chris as well, because Chris is the person that we defer to with all these bills. And we all agreed that there wasn't much in there that we needed to question. There were some questions as to operations and the likes, which Chris would have taken on, and I had one or two on some of the bills. Really, and then the Attorney General will tell you that he looks forward to me debating them, or I'll go over to the Attorney General and try to find out the intent of the amendment. Because it may be different from how I understood it, we cooperate. We go to the Premier. We talk about the time we need to get these things done or whatnot. These are exceptions, but we cannot allow the integrity of our Parliament to be eroded. If it does, we are going to be in a banana republic. We are not going to be running a constitutional democracy. And whilst people like me and Mr. Anthony and a little less so the Premier, and he would like to think that are moving on in life, and the end of life is coming, not nigh for us. We need to ensure that this stays intact for future generations. And not one of us in there, I hope not, would not defend the integrity of our legislature. I hope we never put staying in power over defending the integrity of that legislature to leave, because the legislature and this country will go on in perpetuity. Okay. It has always been there. It will always be there, but we won't be there.
Okay. Got to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
FIS MoneyGram is pleased to announce their Shed Road location will be reopening for money transfer services effective Monday, May the 4th. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, MoneyGram and Shed Road will be open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, servicing customers with A through K surnames on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and customers with L through Z surnames on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. To ensure social distancing requirements, customers are required to make an appointment on their days by WhatsApp or texting 928-5130. That's 928-5130. MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern, recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Beach access is now allowed using the last named protocols, but strictly for exercise, including swimming. Persons can exercise for up to 2 hours each day between 5:15 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. Shoreline fishing and fishing by boat are allowed, but limited to 2 persons per boat. Strata pools can be used for swimming, and tennis courts can also be used, but are limited to members of a single household or a maximum of 2 persons with social distancing maintained. All residents must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation inside buildings or other public places. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Ms. Susan, any calls? No calls. Before we end the show this morning, we want to get on to the COVID-19 situation and, where we're at now and, how do we move forward. Talk a little bit about the pensions.
Well, yesterday, in my view, over this week, is proof that testing is important.
Yep.
I mean, and that the mandatory wearing of masks or face covering in closed public place is essential. We don't know what. You look at we open Cayman Bragg, and we got 2 cases up there. This is not an easy thing, and thus when you talk about collaboration and working together and whatnot.
But do the 2 cases in Cayman Bragg come from reopening or as a result of the continued testing, I believe it is?
I think it's testing, that's what I'm saying. But obviously, the one that was in Cayman Bragg was long time ago, so it appears like it just keep expanding itself in all communities. And we don't know who is infected. And the testing is the most important thing. I'm a little amazed, though, that whilst I know we are limited in our resources in this country compared with other big countries, that only 300 and something tests are conducted daily. I'm disappointed in that. I'm extremely disappointed in that because we have at least must be 5-6 institutions in this country that do testing. I don't know exactly the amount, but I know we were saying that the HSA could do up to 400, 450 a day. Whatever it takes to get this thing all done, we need to do now. I mean, because the CMO was saying they were going to retrain some people to do this testing. I guess those out of the labs and to go into forensics and whatnot. But I don't know if that has happened. We should be working around the clock testing these things with different
I
shifts.
think they basically are, and the machine, the ability, how many the machine can put out. But I think they were looking to average something like about 200 per day.
No, 450 or something.
Okay,
like that.
okay. And they're pretty close. They're pretty close to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that is relying entirely on government facility.
Mm-hmm.
The other private facilities, we need to get them wherever they need to be so that we can move this thing along.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see at the press briefings, they say that doctors' hospital only do 70 or whatnot, a small amount, 90 or something. I don't know what
their
is
capacity
causing
might
that.
be limited.
I don't know what's causing that. Is it personnel that they need to train? I know you're not going to get technicians from anywhere in the world to bring them in now. They're in high demand. But could we not retrain some of the people that are here just to do the test? And I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't seem. I think the CMO, when he was questioned about that in terms of having sufficient staff to do so, it appeared as if that was the case. I think what is also important is that, yes, testing is one part of it, and identifying persons who may be asymptomatic. But at the same time, what you have to tie into that as well is the contact tracing. And that's the area that I felt that maybe whether or not they have enough personnel to do the contact tracing.
But OC, you will agree. Let's say contact tracing. But if you test everybody, now if everybody is tested, then you're not the contact tracing is reduced somewhat. But of course,
But you don't want to test too fast either because
they
the
could
test
have
is only as good for the
contacted
day.
it.
Yes,
right.
Yeah,
they could have contacted it. But if you do the antibody one, then we will know it's either But that is much more capable of closing in that gap. I understand.
Yeah, let's switch from the technical issues though to the more practical ones in terms of how do we go about opening up the country. How what is being done so far in terms of the phased openings. What policies we will need to put in place when we reopen our borders and when other countries reopen their borders, when we start to get work permit holders and employers wanting to bring them back to the island, how those are going to be challenging times and things that we need to look at, whether or not the opposition, members of the Legislative Assembly are involved in that, will be involved in that, want to be involved in all of those policy decisions?
Well, the Premier announced that he was going to have all the opposition involved, and that has all of the opposition. Well, me as the leader of the official opposition, it can be said that he consulted me on a number of occasions. I guess it won't be anymore, but the others in there, I don't know if they have been consulted. You see. And that would include all the members of the legislature, okay? Now, I have responded every time he asked me for my position or the opposition position on something, I've responded, but he has not acknowledged receipt of it. So I don't know, and some of the things that I suggested I see being put in place, which is fine, I mean, what people don't know is that I've done much more than that to assist this country, but I'm not looking to pat on the back. That's my moral responsibility and my legislative responsibility as well. But, see, this is going to be a way of life for a long time. One of the things I said to the Premier was, even if a vaccine is developed, they're saying it's going to take a year and a half. By the time we get it, it'll be another year that and I use that broadly, if we can legally vaccinate everybody in this country, which I think would cause some kickback if we try to do that legally. We're still looking at 2 years down the road before we have eradicated this thing. If we do. So we have to get used to the idea that this is a way of life for a while, or maybe for a very long time. We remember SARS, it's now off the radar, and it may be something that, but we need to practice a different way of life. I believe that we need to. We're in catch-22 whether you open fast or you open slow. You don't know because anything could happen. So no one has perfected this, and we're making decisions on the seat of our pants, really, and we hope they work. Basically, that's what the whole world is doing. So we're no different, because it's new.
We do have the benefit of looking at what other countries are doing, larger countries, seeing what works there, and adopting it or adapting what
but we don't know what their laws are compared with ours they don't. And whether or
but not so much the laws,
how they can do that.
Not so much the laws in terms of what they're practicing.
Right.
But I believe that we've been doing a good job so far. I mean, someone remarked to me not too long ago that the mere fact that we haven't had any deaths in the Cayman Islands other than the one that came off the cruise ship. I think,
and I don't know if it's fair. I don't even know it.
We can't really attribute that to
I don't even know if it's fair.
It occurred on the island, but not necessarily.
Well, not necessarily that either. The individual that had 3 heart attacks, and they were trying to save him. So, I don't. But anyway, be that as it may, the medical people will do that.
But the mere fact that we haven't had any fatalities in the Cayman Islands. That says something. COVID related. Sorry, that says something in itself. We have to take our last commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
During these challenging times, it can be easy to lose sight of all that we have to be grateful for. As the world grapples with the effects of COVID-19, at the forefront of the fight are the many frontline workers diligently ensuring the continuity of our islands. From the police service, members of the National Emergency Operations Center, healthcare workers, the DEH, grocery and pharmacy attendants, and so many more. Along with the daily conch call at 6:59 p.m., Radio Cayman invites the community to call in to talk today, every Friday, for Frontline Fridays. Share your stories and experiences and let us as a community start the gratitude trend to the many people putting their lives on the front line. Whether you have a family member on the front line and wish to give them a shout out, or if you have a personal experience of Cayman kindness, we want to hear from you. Frontline Fridays, every Friday on Talk Today.
all residents are asked to stay at home unless you have permission to work, have to go to a medical facility, pharmacy, bank, or supermarket. If you must go out, remember to stay at least 6 feet from other persons who are not members of your household. This reduces the risk of transmission whether or not a person with coronavirus is showing symptoms. Everyone must wear face masks or other face coverings while taking public transportation, inside buildings, or other public spaces. For more information and to view the new regulations in full, go to www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. This question, Mr. McLean, I believe, Postal Services came under you when you were minister at one point in time. This person wanted to know if we can revert back to paying the post box fees in 2 installments, as before. The person says that they went before the post office is closed and was told that they have to pay in full and that the fee was raised. Now I'm going back and can't find the full amount to be paid. Can't find the full payment. Can't make the full payment.
Oh, see, I've always had this affinity towards the post office. You know, when I was in charge with Miss Corey in Glasgow and I had this affinity, always had this affinity towards post offices, because I believe that came because of me being out to sea, and all those up, Captain Paul will recall this, that just called up recently. Captain Paul will remember there was a certain excitement in our country when letters were coming from their seamen, and vice versa when I was on the ship, and you know, that was not in the days of Captain Paul, it was since then. Hey, when you get alongside the dock, it is, you remember those envelopes, the little ones with the Royal Mail colours right around? That's all we had here, I used to look forward to seeing my mother's handwriting. I'm sorry I didn't keep some of them for posterity, but that was, and my mother, I recall, the envelopes were so old, she used to seal them with flour, you know, make a paste out of flour and seal them. And I have this affinity towards post office, and I believe whatever the government can do to ensure that people maintain their post office boxes, because there are people who correspond with people overseas and look forward to it still. It's a traditional thing. It's something that we must maintain in perpetuity, and don't allow the courier services to take over.
When you were in charge, could you pay the fees in installments? Or
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. I think you have a letter that you want to share with the public before we close off as well.
Yeah. When people say that we have not been, or question if we have been, operating in assisting with each other in the alley or cooperating with the government.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read one of the notification we got for the meeting where Mr. Anthony was presiding. Remember that? That was 22nd, 23rd of last month.
Mm-hmm.
And this one says, I have been directed by the Speaker, Honorable W. McKeever Bush, OBE, JP, to inform members that the fourth meeting of the 2019-2020 session of the Cayman Islands Legislature will be held on Wednesday, the 22nd of April, 2020 at 10 a.m. The purpose of this meeting is to facilitate the government's business necessitated by the events caused by COVID-19 virus. All business to be considered by the House will be forwarded to you as soon as it is received by the clerk's office. We didn't get it until the day we were going, the night before we were going in there. I again question why the Speaker was doing that when we were going to appoint a presiding officer. You understand? Why was this clerk sending that out as being directed by the Speaker? Okay, when the Speaker was not going to be sitting as the presiding officer. So we agreed with the government. We worked very closely with the government on these matters. So it wasn't like we were bucking heads. We were working together because that's what is necessary in the interest of this country. We are now on the blacklist despite the government having some culpability there to try and get us off of this blacklist. That's why we're there. But we have another job to do, and that is to also represent our constituencies. And when they're controlling that and curtailing that, then I have a fundamental problem. I will not allow them to do that without objection. I will not do that. Just like the Premier did not allow McKeever Bush to do it without objection. And I am not. This is not about friendship. This is not about friendship. This is about maintaining the constitutional democracy that we have and not allowing anyone to encroach thereon, to ensure that future generations do not think they can go into the Legislative Assembly and do what they want. There are rules. There are conventions. There is the Constitution. There is Erskine May that has been written for the last 300 years of procedures, precedents, conventions that have been taken. And remember now, our standing orders say if nothing is represented in our standing orders here, we must defer to that. So I am not going to sit down. I will walk away. I will leave. The people will remove me. But my head will be held high that I did what was necessary to ensure this democracy is. No one runs amok on this democracy. No one. That includes whether it's my brother, my sister, whatever. We cannot do that. We are here, but for the time, that stays on into perpetuity. And if we encroach on it, others will feel empowered to encroach on it, and then we have an anarchy. No, we're not. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry.
I just was looking at some things in Erskine May here in the UK. For instance, the Speaker, if he's attending funerals, ceremonies, receiving honorary degrees and things of that nature, can take a leave of absence. Also, on Fridays, he's allowed to take leave of absence. One of the deputy chairs, or a person who will sit in the chair as deputy speaker, including the deputy speakers that are selected,
and
chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, also is allowed to take the chair. So there are provisions for.
But then that person becomes the presiding officer.
Yeah, but there are. But what I'm trying to point out though is that there are provisions for the speaker to take leave in the UK Parliament.
Yeah, but with the permission of the House. Erskine May goes on to say that.
Well, there's a part of it. It says that the person who's occupying, when the mace is brought in, the person who's occupying the chair then makes the announcement that the speaker is on leave.
Right, but But if there's going
But I'll do some more research on Erskine May in relation to it, because I think it's an important question, and I'm sure that those who have made decisions in relation to this have done their research as well.
Right, and let me tell you something, O.C. In the years that I have been there, I have immersed myself in it because that's my job. That's what I do. I enjoy doing that. I immerse myself in anything I do. I do that curiosity. I immerse myself in anything I do. I was a seaman, then I came home, got a job with CUC, and then Parliament. Those are my 3 jobs. But, I try to do them to the best of my ability. Yep. And then I walk away from them. But not one time did I walk away from a job did I regret walking away because I didn't do it to the best of my ability. Not one time did I ever do that.
Mr. McLean, I want to thank you very much for being here this morning, folks. I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. Say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. There will be a press briefing, I believe, today as well. And received some photos here where Mrs. Hulda Ebanks celebrated her 103rd birthday with a motorcade in West Bay. That took place on yesterday at 3:30 p.m. And people were out there helping her celebrate as well. Folks, please stay safe. Consider your neighbor, consider your friend, consider the person sitting, standing next to you, their health and your health, and please ensure that you continue to practice physical, or what they call social distancing as well. God bless, and have a great weekend.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.